If BlackRock all of a sudden has filed for a Bitcoin ETF that's not futures-based, it's spot Bitcoin,
right.
Okay?
I don't see how this changes.
If anybody can get it done, would you bet against BlackRock?
No.
Bitcoin is digital gold. It is taking the place of what gold did for 5,000 years, right? There's only one money in the world, that's gold. Money is an asset that exists in the absence of a liability. Gold has played that role. It sits at the base layer of currency. Currency backed by debt created by governments to facilitate commerce sits on top of money, gold. And for 5,000 years, gold's done a good job. But gold isn't portable and it's not divisible. Bitcoin, a permanent immutable ledger, does play that role as a base layer of new money going forward, and we'll build the future of finance on top of that.
We're moving into a new era.
Bitcoin just pushed, now above $31,000. And in fact, looking since the November lows, we're up near 100% in price.
Exciting development in the ongoing Spot Bitcoin ETF race despite recent scrutiny from Gary Gensler and the SEC, who have deemed the Spot ETF filings, quote, insufficient and made demands for further amendments. The price of Bitcoin continues to do its thing, standing strong at about $30K. In fact, since November, Bitcoin is up an impressive 100%, leaving enthusiasts and investors eager for the latest developments in this early rumblings of a Bitcoin bull market. All right, let's cut the bullshit. Let's get to the latest on the Spot Bitcoin ETF, as well as why you might not be bullish enough today. Let's go. And the latest news today from the Wall Street Journal, SEC says Spot Bitcoin ETF filings are inadequate. The agency informed exchanges NASDAQ and CBOE Global Markets, which filed the applications on behalf of asset managers, including Blackrock and Fidelity Investments, that they aren't sufficiently clear and comprehensive. The people said the exchanges or asset managers can update them to address the regulators' feedback and refile. So again, it's not that big of a deal. We had a little flash crash in quote-unquote Bitcoin today. I don't know, it looks more like a dip for ants to me, but Bitcoin's dollar value fell 5% after the Wall Street Journal first reported the SEC's decision, before rebounding slightly back to right about $30K. A wave of traditional and crypto asset managers followed in BlackRock's footsteps. Fidelity, Cathie Wood's ARK, Invesco, WisdomTree, Bitwise, and Valkyrie all reactivated or amended their applications for a Spot Bitcoin ETF in recent days. Man, the race is heating up. An ETF that tracks the actual price of Bitcoin would mark a watershed moment for the industry because it would provide wider access to Bitcoin. It would allow investors to buy and sell Bitcoin through a brokerage account as easily as shares of stock. And this is why, for institutions to get involved, sometimes legally they're required to, if they're going to have Bitcoin in the books, use a product like this. Maybe it opens up that opportunity for grandma or grandpa to get into Bitcoin, but the floodgates will open once this thing is passed. Let's continue. The SEC has repeatedly rejected such funds going back to 2017 on the grounds that they were vulnerable to fraud and market manipulation. At least half a dozen ETFs that own Bitcoin futures are already on the market. Yeah, futures. Investors in analysis viewed the bid by BlackRock and the world's largest money manager as the best hope yet for a spot Bitcoin ETF, partly because of its near perfect record seeing applications through. We've talked about this before. Some industry watchers predicted that BlackRock's filing would appease the SEC's concerns through an agreement to share surveillance of a spot Bitcoin trading platform with NASDAQ, which would list the ETF. Now, more details on what the SEC was sending back to BlackRock. The SEC told the exchanges that it returned the filings because they didn't name the spot Bitcoin exchange, which they are expected to have a surveillance sharing agreement, or provide enough information about the details of those surveillance arrangements. A CBOE spokeswoman said it plans to update its application and refile NASDAQ, and the SEC declined to comment. Representatives for BlackRock, Fidelity, and Invesco, WisdomTree, and ARK declined to comment. Refiling the application would reset the clock and set asset managers back at least 7 days in the competitive race to launch the first spot Bitcoin ETF. 7 days. Big deal. After an exchange or asset manager resubmits an application, the SEC has 15 days to put the filing out for public commentary, during which it can return the filing to them again by the 7th day. After the 15-day period ends, the SEC has up to 240 days to either approve or reject the filing. So that is the latest news. A little more, there is a Bitcoin Magazine article report SEC demand clarity and comprehensive information for spot Bitcoin ETF filings. And pretty much this is a rewrite of the Wall Street Journal down here at the bottom. The SEC's critique has once again highlighted the regulatory challenges surrounding the launch of a spot Bitcoin ETF. Market participants await updates from the asset managers and exchanges to address the concerns as raised by the SEC as the industry eagerly anticipates the potential approval of a spot Bitcoin ETF. Stakeholders hope that the revised filings will provide the clarity and comprehensive information necessary to gain regulatory acceptance. Now, I love this here from Foss because some people were all worked up about this, but it's really not a big deal, and it's kind of how these things work. Thanks to Foss for, calming everybody down a little bit, bringing us back to earth, and letting us know, again, this is all part of the application process. Did you think they would be accepted verbatim first time through? Rookies. Oh man, Foss, always dropping some knowledge. And again, if you guys aren't bullish enough about this, just take a look at what BTC Sessions and Ben posted today. Every other ETF, SEC sits on hands and extends deadlines until they must respond, then rejects them. Like, we've been here, 80 times it feels like. But then BlackRock, right? 1 week after they file, SEC to BlackRock, Hey buddy, looks like your application's not quite adequate. Here's some hot tips so that everything goes perfectly for you. I mean, it's just like scratching each other's back. The orchestration of this and the attack of the exchanges, the dismissal of other people's offerings, the unregistered security bloodbath. I don't know, Gary might have been just, it's not far-fetched to say they were working on dumping the price for BlackRock to fill up their bags here. It's really not. It's BlackRock. But don't get shook out by BlackRock because this is like a tedious little minuscule thing that they have to fix to get this filed. Let's continue. We got more to get to. We got this from Mitchell Huddle. Bitcoin on exchanges? Approximately 2.27 million. Bitcoin left to be mined. 1.58 million. The former can decrease in a very rapid fashion, especially as demand for Bitcoin surges. The latter is programmatically scheduled to hit the market over the next 117 years. After the next bull run, the only way for institutions to accumulate Bitcoin in bulk will be for them to mine it. I mean, if you look at that, with approximately 3 million Bitcoin left to mine and purchase on exchanges and a continuously growing global demand and adoption, the NGU, number go up technology, combined with the inherent qualities of Bitcoin, proves that it doesn't need an ETF to fulfill its prophetic potential. Shout out Yellow. Don't stop believing, huddle to that feeling, but the limited supply, increasing interest, and widespread acceptance of Bitcoin as a store of value and a medium of exchange globally create a self-sustaining ecosystem, making it resilient and independent of TradFi financial instruments. Shout out to Mitchell Huddle again, but the transformative power of Bitcoin extends far beyond ETFs, paving the way for a decentralized future that disrupts the conventional financial landscape via a more peer-to-peer circular and global economies. Let's get to Mitchell here. Alleged denial of the ETF doesn't matter, as we know the institutions are coming. They're not going to sit idly by and say, oh, well, I guess we're not going to get Bitcoin exposure. You better believe the capital will find its way into Bitcoin one way or another. Again, not if, but when. This from Bitcoin Magazine. More bullish news. Just in, 1.5 trillion asset manager Franklin Templeton. If a spot Bitcoin ETF is approved, it will open up a new access point for traditional portfolios. More tomorrow on the effect a spot Bitcoin ETF could have on Bitcoin's price. And man, no one says it better. Pubby, shoutouts to you, always killing it over there with Toxic Happy Hour, doing your thing. But anyone who sells Bitcoin because of SEC news regarding ETFs has no fucking clue what they're doing and shouldn't have been here in the first place. Cheers, Pubby. Yeah, get your sats on discount. When people are dumb, seize that opportunity. These sats is scarce out here. Remember guys, ignore the noise, find the signal. And as we navigate the landscape of Bitcoin, it's evident that Gary Gensler and the SEC have outlined some adjustments for BlackRock, Fidelity, and the other institutions seeking a spot Bitcoin ETF. However, it is not a question of if, but rather when these adjustments will be made and these ETFs approved. The institutions have shown a clear desire to participate in Bitcoin on a significant scale, indicating their recognition of its potential. Guys, if you're on zero, you might want to do something about that because the time to front run the institutions and seize the opportunity is gradually diminishing. With limited Bitcoin supply remaining in the grand scheme of things and the impending halving less than a year away, the demand for Bitcoin is poised to skyrocket, ETF or no ETF. Bitcoin has proven its resilience and longevity over the past 14 years. It stands as the best performing asset in the history of humankind, making its presence and impact undeniable. Bitcoin, the honey badger, doesn't care about the absence of an ETF. It has thrived without institutions like Blackrock for years. Its innate qualities, coupled with its finite and immutable digital scarcity, paved the way for a future where it plays a crucial role in reshaping the global monetary system. So let's stay humble, stack sats, and let the power of Bitcoin's scarcity and incentives do the rest.
Oh my God.